So thank you for joining our event. My name's Alexi, and I come from a small town called Hanover, New Hampshire. It has a population of about 10,000 people, so to give you a comparison, Seoul has 10 million people. I applied to this program because I'm half Korean, but I didn't grow up learning Korean, so it's a great opportunity to connect to my roots and understand some more of my culture. So as Lauren said, I will be continuing on the walking theme, and I'm going to be talking about how in Seoul, when you walk around and you see the surrounding architecture, the buildings, the markets, the people, you can quickly tell that Seoul is a unique city in that the past and the present really coexist. So Seoul is known as one of the most hyundai-chokin, or one of the most modern cities in the world. For example, Seoul is famous for new districts such as Gangnam, which you might have heard from Psy's song, where you can see tall skyscrapers, international companies, newly built and efficient transportation. Yet what makes Seoul so special, and one thing that I've really enjoyed by just walking around and wandering, or maybe even just getting lost, is that while you're walking, you can really stumble upon the old, a 전통 적긴, or a 역사가 깊은, a traditional or historical site. So there really is no distinct separation between the old and the new in that sense with architecture. Like right next to a giant skyscraper, you might be able to see an old temple. So for example, as I'm walking along, you might see a Hanok Maul, which is an area, if you look at the top right picture, it's an area of old traditional housing. And actually, if you look in the back of this picture, you can see some really big apartments. So there's just the contrast there. You can also see 전통 시장s, as Lauren was saying, really traditional markets with harmonies and 할아버지s. You might even run into Joseon palaces, Buddhist temples. You can really, just by wandering around Seoul, you can experience some of the past. Also, one thing I'd like to mention is that the past is very important to Koreans, but as well as the respect for that past and the elders who come from it. And this respect is deeply rooted in Yugyo Confucian values that have been in Korea for centuries. So one important thing to think about is that as the city continues to modernize and we see new international hubs in Seoul, that these values and the buildings and tradition of the past are maintained. And here's one more picture on the bottom right, just to show you a Buddhist temple right next to some giant skyscrapers